Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Eagles podcast. The boys in blue are back. Bo Wulf, Zach Berman, Wednesday, high noon. Happy anniversary.
Thank you very much.
We'll get to that. We got a little game focused
We'll get to
on
that.
your anniversary.
You're joking.
No, I got a nice little game I prepared. Did my homework on May 29th, 2016.
Yeah.
Most importantly, we're here to talk about the breakout players potentially of this Eagles season. It's the time to be optimistic, Zach, and so we will try to do that. How you doing?
Doing great. Excited for the show. I do remember May 29, 2016 well. I remember May 31st, 2016 well also. The Eagles had OTAs. And I remember, okay, so the next day I had a chance to decompress, start writing thank you notes, and then back at OTAs, which was awesome, back in my routine. The Eagles have OTAs tomorrow, okay? So they have OTAs this week, but we'll be on the field tomorrow, so looking forward to seeing that. The second time we get to watch them this spring.
What was the division of labor on the thank you notes?
We split it up, actually. Emily wrote to like her family and her friends,
okay.
And I took it. Now, I write like very long-winded handwritten notes,
and you're also self-conscious about your handwriting.
Yeah, no, but she had everything finished within like 24. Yeah, okay. Exactly.
Within 24 hours.
But
that's outrageous.
But my notes were so much more substantive, I would say, and I don't. If you could read them. No, you could, and I don't feel embarrassed saying that. Like I really put a lot of thought into notes. So,
but you also probably had to spend more time to make them look more legible than they might otherwise.
I suppose so. I mean, I'm still not. My handwriting's still not.
And you
not
got
great.
the lefty thing going on, so you're coming out of the dungeon. Like I just wrote 10 thank you notes, and your forearm is all covered in ink.
Actually, look, we're already veering off the course that I anticipated for the show. But one of my goals this summer is to work on my grip, because like a little flex, I'm gonna have some book signings coming up in the fall, and my fear is a photo being taken of me holding the pen the way I hold it. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna have like some time in the car driving to and from work. I'm just going to hold the pen. I'm going to get the muscle memory down.
What a glimpse into your mind.
Yeah. So this is actually something that I'll be working on this summer. That's my hope is that by September, mid-September, late September, the third week in September, I will be able to hold the pen in a very photogenic.
You got the whole flight to Brazil that you can work on.
In a very photogenic manner. And nice. You need to
write that way. Yeah. Well, I guess you do.
No, yeah. I just need to learn how to write. To Bo, to Julia, whoever, hope this brings back great memories. Thank you for reading. Enjoy. Then my signature. And I might do, it's like the kid in class who has to write that 1,000 times. I will not run up the stairs. No.
Thank you, Julia.
Wait, what'd you say?
I just said Rizzuto. Go ahead.
What does that mean?
Just continue your
story. What does
story.
that mean? Is it something?
It's from Billy Madison.
Okay. All right. I do remember that. Okay. Yeah. So, anyways, excited for the show. Excited to talk breakout players.
Okay. I know that we don't want to get to this at the top, but the video of the Kelsey interaction in the parking lot. What did you make of that?
I mean, come on, right? Like, come on, that's ridiculous. He's out. It's okay. Look, everyone has a different threshold. You see someone, if you want to go up, you want to say hello. Even if you ask for a picture, but if someone says like, sorry, I'm out on a date, respect that, right? Respect that. So of course. Yeah, it makes no sense to me how that would be your reaction.
Yeah, that like 8-second clip is such a funny little story that it tells. Like Jason in the back, like, lady, you are picking on the wrong woman.
Yeah.
like Kylie's not going to deal with your shit. And we have talked about this, like the growing celebrity of Jason Kelsey. It's like what a responsibility that is, what a heavy load that is now to carry. Like we have talked about, every interaction he has is like the most important thing with everybody they come in contact with. It's now the same for Kylie, right? She is now this monster celebrity. We told the story of like, anytime I go somewhere outside of the Eagles sphere and someone finds out that I cover the Eagles, they're like, oh, do you know Kylie? Like she
Oh,
is
see,
like,
I get Jason more than Kylie, but okay.
I get Kylie all the
Okay.
time. It's like, oh, like I really think we would be good friends, and like,
Really?
like
Okay.
because she
Yeah.
seems awesome,
Yeah.
right? But she's not the one who grew up as the celebrity,
Sure.
right? And so like that's a tougher thing for her. But also the two of them, like this is the place that they go all the time. They've been going for several summers, right? But now they're at a different stratosphere of celebrity. It's just got like a tough adjustment. You know, no one's crying for him, but
Yeah, I hear you there. Now I was at a function last year when Jason and Kylie were there, and you know Jordan and his wife and Jordan Jordan Mailata
okay.
and his wife were there. A few other people, and I was there with Emily, and you know she wanted to go say hello, and I'm like, don't bother them, like please don't bother
Right.
them.
My instinct is
And then-
always like,
but then-
please, like, do
but then,
not
like-
just let them live their life.
But then so they go over, and then Jordan was like, Zach, I just met your wife. Why don't you come over?
Right.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
for them, it's
Yeah.
probably like that there's a familiarity there that is
Yeah.
comfortable, right?
But the shame in this.
But I
is
also I would feel
Yeah.
the same way,
Yeah.
like you know, come on, like let
Yeah.
them have their time.
yeah. But where they were at dinner that night, where the photo was taken or the video was taken, it's one of the best. It's one of the best places you're going to eat down the shore. So it's like it's a sour end to a meal. You have this great date night at an amazing restaurant.
Do you think
know,
that was pre-dinner or post-dinner?
I think it was. Ooh, good question. I don't know. I mean, I've been in that parking lot. I don't know if they were walking to or from. So hard to say.
I was thinking lighting. It seemed like pre-dinner, but I could be wrong.
Probably.
Maybe it was an early dinner,
Maybe, yeah, probably pre-dinner, I suppose.
which is even worse.
Which is even
I mean, that
worse.
woman was
Exactly. Let them
sloshed.
go. Yeah, exactly. Let them go. Well, I mean, people. Look for full disclosure. I wanted to go there on Saturday night. I couldn't get in. I couldn't get a table.
Yeah.
I should ask Jason for a table. Yes. But
It'd be funny if there's a viral video of Jason yelling at you, Zach. You've got booze on your breath.
Yeah.
And you're embarrassing yourself.
it's hard to get it's hard to get a table there.
Okay.
But it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it.
Well, especially if you can see a scene like that.
Or just if you can have the tomato salad or the seafood platter. Yep, it's really good.
All right.
Take my
Fancy
word for
boy Zach.
it.
All right, let's talk breakout players. We have broken this up into 4 levels, and this is the time to dream about what these players can be. We've got the guys who are sort of on the roster periphery who might be able to break out into being some kind of contributor on offense or defense. Then you've got the guys who have been contributors who can maybe break out into being something more than that. You've got the guys who have sort of maybe established themselves as starters who can maybe break out into something like a first-time Pro Bowl appearance. And then you've got, as you and Rich talked about a couple weeks ago, sort of the maxi leap, guys
Yes.
who have established themselves as good starters, taking a leap to become superstars. So why don't we start at that low level and work our way up? Who do you have on your radar as a guy who can make that first jump?
And you would qualify the first jump as simple, like you just said, like being on the roster, like you were
Well,
on the fringe guy.
it depends on
Yeah.
who they are.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
if it could be, if you wanted it to be Eli Ricks.
Okay, so
on the roster to like being a real part of the
Gotcha.
defense, or it could be, PJ Mustafa going
Sure.
from on the periphery to being on the roster, but somebody of that lower level becoming more than we think of them now.
yeah, so I thought of the roster bubble being on the roster, and for that I'm going with Gabe Hall, and I'm saying Gabe Hall, and that's based on, it's not based on practice last Wednesday. Like I didn't see anything from Gabe Hall to suggest it. It's based on the depth at that position, the profile of player, given some of the contract situations there. I'm curious to see Gabe Hall this offseason. I liked him coming out of the draft. I told the story that when I was doing my 7-round mock draft and I was trying to peg who the Eagles would take in like round 5, round 6 at the position, I was like, oh, Gabe Hall won't be there then, right? I was going with Brugler's grade. I was going with some other grades. And then sure enough, he's undrafted. Gabe Hall interests me there. So there are players who might fit in this category who I view as like reserves last year who are going to be key contributors this year. That's what I consider the Reed Blankenship category from a year ago. But as far as off the roster to the roster, I would say Gabe Hall is my top option.
And let's just talk a little bit about Gabe Hall for
Yep.
those maybe unfamiliar. This is the undrafted defensive tackle from Baylor, and I think if you're looking at all of these levels, there are defensive tackles who seem like possibilities because that is an area where there is opportunity.
Exactly.
Right? You've got Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and Milton Williams, but after that, who is going to sort of become a bigger part of that rotation? And we may get to Moro Ojimo, who was the thumbnail for this episode, right? Marlon Tuipulotu was in there. PJ Mustapher, you could make a case for in this category. Gabe Hall
come
is
back to
more,
PJ.
Yeah, I think it's because I think he is the backup nose tackle. He's a better nose tackle body than Marlon Tuipulotu.
Absolutely, agree there.
I think he's a possibility. Now, if we're going to get like really pedantic, I avoided rookies as breakout players just because I feel like a breakout is like they're thought of one way and now they're thought of as another way. But Gabe Hall offers a little bit something different in terms of body type and skill set than most of the rest of those guys. He's more of an undersized, lighter player who is more of a penetrating defensive tackle in theory, at least.
Exactly, and they typically keep an undrafted rookie on the roster, at least one, and I think he's got a good pathway to being that guy. My other options here, well, I don't want to jump on your toes, but from off the roster to the roster, I was thinking like Joseph Ngata or Tyron Davis Price. But when I did my 53, I didn't have either one on, and so Gabe Hall is someone I had on, which is why I viewed him as like the off the roster to the roster tier. Okay. But you're right. A rookie, it's hard to say a rookie's a breakout player. Typically, you're thinking of someone who's already been in the building.
Right. Okay. For one here, I'm going to go back to the well of a guy who I talked about as my surprise to make the 53-man roster when we did that exercise last week. And that's Mekhi Garner.
Yeah, okay.
And you talk again about opportunity. Safety, the depth there is not great. You've got the top two in C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship. You've got Avonte Maddox, who practiced there rotationally last week and certainly can do that. Sidney Brown working his way back from a torn ACL. Who knows exactly when he'll be ready? After that, there's not a ton. There's Tristan McCollum. There's Andre Sam, the undrafted rookie, and there's Mekhi Garner, who has moved from corner to safety. And I liked what I saw from Mekhi Garner in camp last year. I thought he was a better player than Mario Goodrich, who ended up making the roster.
Just because of the slot, Goodrich made it.
Right. And I think Mekhi Garner has some good ball skills. And so without having seen what it was like for him transitioning to safety, in the meeting room and stuff like that over the course of the season, I'm sort of buying on a year two jump for a guy fully invested into playing this new position full time.
Yeah, I like that one. I was thinking Garner. I didn't have strong conviction of Garner or Tristan McCollum as kind of those safeties. I still think that's a spot the Eagles could add. But if the Eagles are rounding out their safety core, I would think I would think Garner would be the front runner to at least make the team if you're going to keep four. Now, when we put this out on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, for submissions, FRMRDA, this isn't a pronunciation thing. That's not a word that I can pronounce. Okay. He mentioned Ben Van Sumeren, and Ben Van Sumeren's a name that I've been hearing quite a bit from fans. Do you think Ben Van Sumeren would fit in this category, or are you thinking there's a little too much Van Sumeren hype?
No, I think he would fit. Yeah, okay. I think he's a potential breakout candidate if you're thinking of him as, I don't know, like the top backup, or even like if Nakobe Dean gets injured. Like, do you think that he is heading into week one or ahead of or below Jeremiah Trotter Jr. on the pecking order? So I agree.
Yeah. I think below. I don't think they're going to go that deep at linebacker. I think Van Sumeren needs to play his way onto the 53, not play his way off of it.
I think it's between him and Oren Burks.
Sure,
for a spot. And I would actually lean towards Van Sumeren.
Over Burks?
I think so.
Okay.
But I don't feel super strongly about that. And they could carry 5.
Sure.
Now, I guess if you got Zach Bond factoring in as an inside linebacker, then maybe not. But by the way, I'm sure you did know this, but as I was looking at the NFLPA proposal for the OTAs, I did not realize that Oren Burks was a vice president.
I did know that actually.
And of course you know that, but maybe the audience didn't know that.
Credit to Olivia Reiner from the Inquirer. She asked him about that, I believe, at the introductory press conference.
Oh, there you go. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Olivia. I should have been listening closer.
Maybe I'm giving Olivia credit for something she didn't ask, but I do believe she asked it.
Okay.
If my memory is correct here.
All right, let's go to the next level. That level of a guy going from, as you said, last year's Reed Blankenship level, a guy from contributor to starter, borderline starter, a guy who's playing and not embarrassing himself on offense or defense.
Yeah, my answer there is Nolan Smith.
Okay.
Interesting facial response there.
Yeah, I don't know that a second-year first-round pick qualifies as breaking out to being a contributor, but
okay. Well, then I won't. Then I will go with my other.
I feel like if you're going to go Nolan Smith, it's got to be the next level.
You think it's got to be top of the roster player?
I think a guy turning into a good starter.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Okay, then we won't go Nolan Smith there. I was just thinking, given Nolan,
you can do what you want. I
no.
That's a low
fair.
bar.
Would Keely Ringo qualify?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
he's on
so
my list.
I'm going to go Keely Ringo, and the reason I'm going to go Keely Ringo, I liked what I saw from Ringo during the final 4 or 5 games of the season. Now I understand nothing really looked good for the Eagles during the final 4 or 5 games of the season, but I did not like what I saw from Ringo during the summer training camp in the preseason, and I thought that showed that he was getting better. I've mentioned this a number of times. He was the youngest player on the team last year. He's younger, I believe, than Quinyon Mitchell. I have to look it up.
He is the 4th youngest player on the team.
Yeah. So he's someone who you look at just the height, weight, speed profile, 6'2", 209, I think, ran a 4.36 40. And then you put him in a situation, second year in the scheme. He started at Georgia. I understand there's questions about the fluidity with which he plays and moves, but I think that if there's a fair shot at playing time, he'll push for it. I would still take Mitchell over him, but Slay might get injured, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's the next guy up there and he gets some playing time this season, some starting playing time this season. I liked what I saw from Keely Ringo.
He turns 22 next month. Can you name the 3 other players on the roster who are 21 years old right now? The 3 players younger than Keely Ringo.
Cooper DeJean.
Correct.
Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Correct. Cooper DeJean is the youngest. He's the only 2003 birth date.
And let me go through the draft. So not Mitchell, not Hunt, not Keegan, not Wilson, not Smith. Will Shipley.
Will Shipley, nicely done.
Okay.
Good job.
Thank you.
You know your ages. You're converting.
I've always favored drafting the younger players.
Well, we know that's why you go to the student union. You're scouting the talent.
It's a great Madden strategy. Right? By the time they're a free agent, they're 25. You get 5 more years out of them.
I am with you on Ringo.
Yeah.
I think there's a real chance that he's ahead of Cooper DeJean this year, right? Like in terms of,
especially on the outside.
I think definitely on the outside. I would expect him to be on the outside. And it goes back to the insipid debate we had over positionless players, but like the picture perfect ideal of this secondary next year would be that you have Ringo and Mitchell and DeJean all on the roster at the same time, all on the field at the same time. But I agree that I liked what I saw from Keely Ringo last year. It's still it's still a 50-50 proposition that he turns into a starting caliber player, but I think there's real reason to believe.
So Mike Kay, our friend who covers the Carolina Panthers for the Charlotte Observer, he had a tweet today about Taysom Hill and positionless football, and someone responds to Mike with at ZBerm at Bo_Wulf.
I didn't even see this.
Okay. And so then Mike texts me. He's like, what does this mean? Like, did you guys talk about Taysom Hill? And I was like, Bo made fun of me about about positionless players. And so I think this is becoming a thing now, the positionless thing. I saw you and Noah Becker and Sam Lynch were going back and forth the other day.
Yeah, Derek Sarley had my back.
Derek Sarley?
I mean,
okay.
I think you trust the smart people in the room to judge things correctly.
Okay. No comment.
All right, let's talk about, speaking of smart people in the room, our friends at Mortgage CS, because today's real estate market is ultra competitive. Prospective homebuyers, perhaps just like you, are missing out on opportunities to win the perfect home. But why? Well, it's because you don't have Mortgage CS in your corner. It may be news to you, but the mortgage company you choose matters more than ever. Even if you are already in the market, you can still explore your options with Mortgage CS. This is home financing, not a marriage. Speaking of anniversaries, you may be shocked at how much money you can save. Mortgage CS is an independent mortgage broker in the Philly area. That means they won't steer you to just one mortgage option or what's best for them. They work for you, not the banks. Ben and Alec at Mortgage CS will ensure you have a rock-solid pre-approval and they'll take the time to explore anything you want. What a novel idea. They're working for you. They're going to listen to you and do what's best for you. How nice. That's why Mortgage CS is the mortgage concierge service. In the end, you will be so happy you texted Ben, the CEO of Mortgage CS, at 267-391-7425. There's a reason people win more with Mortgage CS, so call or text Ben now at 267-391-7425 and see for yourself. You can also go to www.mortgagecs.com/PHLY to check them out or view their 370-plus perfect 5-star reviews by searching Mortgage CS right now. The advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. Mortgage CS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company and MLS ID 146766. Visit mortgagecs.com for more information.
We know that summer really doesn't officially begin until the summer solstice, June 20th, but unofficially it starts Memorial Day weekend. And so we're kind of in that summer range, and the perfect place to stock up on all your summer needs is Rite Aid. If you're going to the pool, you can get goggles and floaties and sunscreen. You can check everything off on one stop at Rite Aid. If you're looking for sunscreen for you and the whole family, lather up before you go out. Be careful with the sun. First aid supplies. You might want to stock up on bug spray and bandages. You can pick up all your first aid kits while you're at Rite Aid. Snacks and drinks. All your favorite summer snacks and drinks are at Rite Aid. Picnic supplies. They have paper supplies and more if you're having that summer picnic. And then I always associate the summer with ice cream. Try Thrifty Ice Cream. Pick up a container today. It's available exclusively at Rite Aid. Save $10 in Rite Aid bonus cash when you spend $50. It's available May 26th to June 1st. So right in this range we're in now. In store only. Visit riteaid.com/weekly deals, and it's valid the 26th to the 1st. You have to read the whole disclaimer. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. It's a disclaimer.
Purchase
legally required.
Purchase must be on eligible products in a single transaction, excluding sales tax, and after all other applicable discounts are applied. Limit 1 per transaction. Redeemable only at Rite Aid pharmacy stores. No cash given, not valid if duplicated, not valid on prescriptions and co-pays, alcohol, tobacco products, lottery, money services, gift cards, prepaid cards, newspapers, stamps, online purchases, mailing services, licenses, or items excluded by law. Lost, stolen, damaged, or expired coupons will not be honored or replaced, not responsible for unintended redemption. The Rite Aid Rewards account is required. It cannot be combined with like offers.
Honey, happy anniversary. How was your day today? It was a tough day at the office, Emily. Had to read 7 lines of text during an ad read. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I see you out of the corner of my eye, though, when I'm doing the ad reads. You sometimes you have this judgmental look on your face. Not at all. You right?
I have nothing of the sort.
So I'm like,
no, that's just my
rambling.
That's my 45 seconds of pause of breaking the show. That's my me time.
Okay, gotcha.
No judgment at all. Take as long as you need.
No. But head to Rite Aid. You can try that Thrifty ice cream. It makes me hungry for ice cream. You can pick up that container today. Now, see,
ice cream is so great. Why limit it to just the summer? Ice cream can be had 52 weeks a year as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you're right. You and I and Sheil have had this debate in the past. And you guys, I was actually, like a lot of debates, it was 2 against 1. And I was saying that I would prefer water ice during the summer to ice cream. And my logic is this. I always give this analogy.
Melty.
Would you rather, if you're really hot, you just get off the practice field, would you rather drink a glass of water or a glass of milk? Right? That's the comparison. Water ice is refreshing. Ice cream is an indulgence, but water ice is refreshing, right? You have I don't know, Julia, what do you think? Would you prefer? Well, I'm done. I'm sorry.
Did you see the disgust in my face?
What's that?
1,000% water ice.
Okay,
I can't think of. I can't think
to
of
cool down. Yeah.
Okay. I saw a look on Julia's face. I was like, did I go to a place I should not have gone to? Sorry.
Look after you're hot and you
grab the 4th rail of ice cream conversation.
But yeah, I love water ice this time of year. But I would never say no to a Thrifty ice cream, only at Rite Aid.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
We have a super chat, or is that?
That's just a nice.
It's just a nice one. I wanted to show you
sentiment from Sean, who says he just wanted to say thank you. He listens on Spotify every single day at work, and this is his first time watching live. Thanks again for making my days at work a little more enjoyable. Go Birds. Well, Sean, thank you for the kind words, and hopefully you have an easier day at work today than poor Zach having to lift the heavy load of 7 lines of disclaimer. Real blue collar work today.
I remember
both of us in literal blue collars.
I remember the first time I
those
had
calloused
to read,
hands, that Rite Aid disclaimer.
The first time I had to read a disclaimer, it was a few years ago, the gambling ads, and I tried to sound. Do you remember I tried to sound like when you heard it on the radio?
Yeah,
and
I do that sometimes.
I would read through it like at rapid pace, like if you're listening to a podcast at 1.5, and I would struggle in like the third sentence. So,
which disclaimer?
Disclaimer
over here. Yeah.
That's a Bo joke if I've ever heard one.
All cylinders, baby. Okay, let's talk about the third level. Oh no, I didn't even give you my contributor for the second level. So I had Ringo on my list here, and full disclosure, there's nobody here who at any of these levels who I'm going to go full Zach pound the table for. Yeah. Because I think there are lots of options, and also like a lot of these guys, it does feel like we have somewhat expectations for what they're going to be. I'm not super sure, but one guy that I do think we are maybe underselling as a possibility here. I have Moro Ojimo on here, but we sort of talked about him.
Yeah, you're a big Ojimo guy.
I think there's a chance that Ojimo could end up being the fourth best defensive tackle. I think if I was betting on somebody to play the fourth most snaps of that group, it would be Ojimo. I like what I saw from him last year. I liked him in the summer. But we're all searching for who's going to be that wide receiver 3, right? And we talked yesterday about like the long list of mid-round and late-round receivers the Eagles have drafted over the past decade plus. It's going to be a heavy lift for that to be Aeneas Smith, to him to earn that job in year 1. Paris Campbell, in theory, can be that guy. He offers some speed. He hasn't proven that he can stay healthy. There's a reason that he's bounced around the league at this point. Johnny Wilson, same deal.
Billy Crystal in you. Forget Paris.
Smith.
Yeah.
No. That's the one where he was an NBA ref?
Yes, right? Yes. I've told that story on the show
that's
before.
Right. You wanted to go see that movie.
Yeah.
The previews really played up. I think I had the same experience. Where, like, the previews played up the NBA ref aspect of it, and it's like the first scene of the movie, and then it's just a straight rum.
Then he's just eating chicken parm, and
So the guy that I do want to talk about as a possibility here, and listen, he's been on the team a couple years, and he has not been involved in offense. He has not earned a spot on offense, but a guy who can be where he's supposed to be, and just like through pure attrition of who else is on the roster, he will be there. I think there is a chance that Britton Covey ends up playing the most snaps at wide receiver after A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith. Now, I think ideally you would want it to be a Devontae Parker type so that you can move DeVonta Smith and A.J. Brown into the slot and create mismatches that way. But for lack of better options, I think Covey is possible. And I think he could take that jump to have like one really solid year before they eventually add somebody, or Aeneas Smith or Johnny Wilson makes that leap. And he has like his one good year of offensive production. And by that, I'm talking like 300 yards receiving.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because, look, I don't want to typecast. I don't want to say all like 5'8" white slot receivers are the same. But Kellen Moore was in Dallas as a player and as a position coach when Cole Beasley was productive. And I keep thinking back.
And Britton Covey is such a better guy than Cole
Well,
Beasley.
I keep thinking back to when we had Britton Covey on the show at the Super Bowl. And he said, like, I think you asked him about Kellen Moore. He said the first thing he spoke about was, like, he wants to have an offensive role this year, and that's going to be his goal. And he's already talking about certain, like, he's figuring out, like, what he can do to play offense this year. And Britton Covey was a productive receiver at Utah, right? And it could be one of those things where the guy just needs a chance on offense to show what he can do. But you're right. The opportunity is there. Paris Campbell has injury history. Britton Covey is someone who Jalen Hurts has been around now, going on the 3 years. There's a degree of familiarity there. You heard Nick Sirianni say how popular he is in the locker room. I'm curious to see Covey in an offensive role this summer. Okay,
there you go. How about your next level? This is probably the most important level, right? This is where a guy is going from good starter to Pro Bowl level. And this is where you probably, if you're a team that's going to overachieve, you need 2 or 3 guys to make this kind of leap.
Sure. And so I know the popular name here is Milton Williams, right? That seems to be what everyone's talking about. I did want to ask you, does Jalen Carter not qualify for this, or is Jalen Carter the next tier? He's probably the next tier.
Yeah, I think he's probably the next tier. Also because the next tier, there are really only so many options.
Sure.
Right?
Exactly.
And so I have him written down as a possibility for the next tier. But
yeah. So I'm debating between Jordan Davis and Cam Jurgens, and I think I'm going to lean toward Cam Jurgens here. Cam Jurgens has played already at right guard. His natural position is center. He's playing next to Landon Dickerson, who has made that jump into a Pro Bowl player, highest paid player at his position. He has familiarity with obviously what Jeff Stoutland wants. Jurgens, I was more underwhelmed by Jurgens than you were last year. You were on it right away. You're like, this guy's gonna be the starting right guard, right, during camp. I'm saying. Like,
that was less about the level of play than just they drafted him in the second round. He's going to start.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's much more natural at center, and I think the threshold, like if you take Jason Kelsey out of it, the threshold to be a top of the league center is not very high, right? Center tends to be a position that is somewhat replaceable in the teams roll through centers. It's a reason why centers are not typically first round picks or even second round picks, right? Jurgens is one of the higher centers drafted in the past 5 years. There's talent, there's athleticism, and like I said, he's playing with the best offensive line coach in the NFL. He's playing next to one of the best guards in the NFL. So I will go Jurgens for this category.
Yeah, he's on my list. It's a good one. I do think that the shadow of Kelsey is going to be tough. This is a guy who's going to be starting at center for the first time in the NFL. Now he's a third-year player, so expectations should be reasonable. This is a second-round pick. He needs to be good, but there will be plays that are highlighted where he's beat, and it's like, oh man, the Eagles really missed Jason Kelsey here, or he's not getting out in the open field quite the same way. I think that narrative will exist, but I also think I feel much better about him, as you said, playing center than playing guard last year. This is what he was brought here to do.
Who do you think makes the calls at the line this year? Cam Jurgens or Jalen Hurts?
I think Jalen Hurts.
Me too.
Yeah.
Which will be the first time since Michael Vick or since Kelsey took over, when Howard Mudd wanted him to kind of make the calls. It'd be the first time that occurred.
Milton's a good one. You mentioned him. Jordan Davis is worth discussing there as well. I have 2 guys here. I'm going to mention Bryce Huff because he's being paid
good point.
to break out and become a Pro Bowl caliber player. And this is his first year here. So this is he gets to introduce himself to the Eagles. I think that's a good one. But the guy I'm landing on here is CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Oh, I like that one. Okay. Yeah.
And this is somebody who the league knows about.
Yes.
In 2022, if he had not got injured, he probably would have made the Pro Bowl. Led the league with 6 interceptions that year. The narrative here can sort of coalesce around him because they really missed his personality and his nastiness last year. And if this Eagles team is a top 12 defense, it's the energy of CJ Gardner-Johnson has brought stuff back for him. In this defense, things are now probably set up for him better than at other places. If everything works out with Darius Slay and Quinion Mitchell and whoever is playing slot, CJ Gardner-Johnson can do some roaming and make some big plays. He's a big play hunter. He will have some highlight plays. And he also hasn't stayed healthy over the course of his career. Last 3 years, he's never played more than 12 games. And so if he has a fully healthy season, plays 17 games, I think he has a good chance to become more of a household name and earn his way onto the Pro Bowl for the first time.
I definitely like that one. As a ball hawk, he was terrific 2 years ago, and that's something the Eagles missed last year. In addition to the personality, the competitive zeal, as I've called it, he made plays, and there's on defense making plays is such a significant thing. Like a sack or a takeaway changes games, and he was able to do that. So I certainly like that one. Are you able in 30 seconds? I don't know if you've been following this or not. What's going on with him and Antonio Brown?
I am not able.
Oh, okay.
This is the first I've heard of it.
Oh, really? Okay. I mean,
what's going on with him and Antonio Brown?
He's making a diss track, I believe. Is
he?
Yeah. So yes.
CD Deuces? I saw he put out a song, but this is a different thing.
Yeah, something. Yeah. Can the chat weigh in?
The only
here?
thing I saw about Antonio Brown is I think he just endorsed Trump or something like that.
No, he declared bankruptcy,
Okay.
And then I saw he went with Le'Veon Bell.
So he's really hitting for the loser cycle.
What happened with C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Antonio Brown? According to Smy Guy, C.J. wrote a rap song. A.B. said it was paid. It was paid. Is that
okay?
So C.J. wrote a diss song in response. A.B. said it was bad. Okay. Okay. There you go. I didn't know if this was something that needs to be on my radar going in OTAs tomorrow.
Apparently.
Yeah.
All right. Look forward to you asking Nick about it.
Okay. So yeah, I'd like the CJ pick.
Okay. Well, let's talk about our friends at ButcherBox because it sounds like CJ Gardner-Johnson is trying to roast Antonio Brown, just like you can roast the high-quality meats given to you and delivered for free, courtesy of ButcherBox, because ButcherBox is bringing you high-quality meat and seafood you can trust that is humanely raised with no antibiotics or added hormones. We are talking 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork-raised, crate-free, and wild-caught seafood delivered right to your doorstep, curated to whatever customized box plan you want with free shipping every single time. Incredible value offered by our friends at ButcherBox with exclusive member deals, plus recipe inspiration, guides, tips, and hacks to make the load of cooking for you and your family easier. Fewer trips to the grocery store. Always prepared with meat in the freezer. That's what I've got going on thanks to the ButcherBox delivery I have. If I haven't had a chance to meal plan for the week, I can just dip into that freezer, pull out some ground beef or some ribs, and get things going the next day. Beautiful. So, because ButcherBox loves us and loves you, they're offering you a deal that you don't want to miss. ButcherBox is offering our listeners an amazing offer where new users get free meat plus $20 off your first box. Join today using our link at butcherbox.com/PHLY and use code PHLY to receive this exclusive offer today before time runs out.
My son really wants to see a Philly City Connect game. Those are Friday night home games. Okay, so my father, my in-laws are watching the kids this weekend, and I said, he really wants to see a City Connect game. If you're interested, and my father-in-law said, well, if I want to get tickets, should I go to Game Time? I said, you should definitely go to Game Time because if you use code PHLY, you're going to get $20 off. Because Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch with killer last-minute deals, all in prices views from your seats and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. So if you want to see the Phillies this weekend on Friday night in those City Connect jerseys, I think against the Cardinals, you can see Ivan Herrera, Nolan Gorman, and Paul Goldschmidt, and Nolan Arenado, and Mason Wynn. I can keep going down the list. But more importantly, you want to see the Phillies play in those City Connect jerseys. Go on to Game Time to get it. Use the app. Features listed in custom, and you can get last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals. Easy to find and buy MLB tickets for every kind of event in your area. Views from all seats in the venue. Lowest price guaranteed. Event cancellation protection. Job loss protection. And more. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
All right, Zach, let's transition to the last level here. The guys going from established starters, star-level players, to superstars. The maxi jump, as you talked about. Yeah. I know that you and Rich sort of landed on DeVonta Smith as the guy here, and which sort of makes sense to me that is the guy who can sort of break out into superstardom. Is that where you landed again?
Well, I'm not going DeVonta because I already did a show with that. And I understand one of the great things about PHLY, we're on every day. So sometimes people don't catch every show and they might have missed that mailbag. But I wanted to go kind of beyond DeVonta there. And also DeVonta's been a Pro Bowler before, right? So I'm thinking someone who hasn't been a Pro Bowler, not that Pro Bowl is a sign of stardom, but I'm going Jordan Mailata in this category. Jordan Mailata is the Eagles just gave him a new contract when he had 2 years left on his deal. That shows you the trajectory that he thinks he's on, that they think he's on. He's now going into year 7 of his career. And so he's been around the block here. Like he's not new to the game, but he's fresh enough that he keeps adding things. He keeps adding things to this. He did not become a starter a full-time starter in the NFL until 2021. So this is his 4th season as a full-time starter. I think he's going to take on a bigger leadership role on the team. You already saw him on one of the Eagles clips breaking down the group. He has experience now against most of the top pass rushers. I think the expectation, and he's being paid this way, the expectation is for him to be one of the elite left tackles in the league. And that could eventually, or that could result in a Pro Bowl bid, potential All-Pro. But I like the way he played last season. And I think that he's going to continue on that trajectory. He's in the prime of his career right now.
Okay. I think that's a good one, and I'm not going too far away from that. Now, I think DeVonta is the guy who makes the most sense here for the reasons that you talked about before. Jalen Carter is a good possibility here. If he becomes, in a post-Aaron Donald world, one of the 2 or 3 best defensive tackles in the league and is wreaking havoc for this defense, I think that Dallas Goedert, like if he finally puts it all together and has like the year that everybody's sort of been hoping for, and he can stay healthy, he could be seen as like the best tight end in the league. That's a possibility. But go ahead.
I was just going to say Goddard's now on like the Ertz plan, where every year was like the Ertz breakout year's coming, the Ertz breakout year's coming.
Sure.
And then it's kind of that way with Goddard now. It's like we're year 7 of his career.
Honestly, I think that time has probably passed.
Sure.
I think he is now, just based on his age, probably a declining player, but I think it's still possible, and certainly the touches will be there for him on offense. But I think the guy I'm going with here is Landon Dickerson.
Okay.
And I think that the Jason Kelsey in the media is going to help this narrative. Okay, like Jason Kelsey can evangelize for Landon Dickerson. This is someone who just got paid as like the highest paid guard in the NFL, coming off 2 Pro Bowls. I think there's a chance he becomes this year sort of universally seen as the best guard in football because of the narrative a little bit. If the offense is as good as they expect to be, and in a post-Kelsey world where everybody knows about Lane Johnson, but like who's the other guy who's the key here? He also has like the ability, the kinds of blocks that he makes can be like highlight level blocks, and so it doesn't have to just be about the technique and the refinement that not everybody might see or appreciate. Like he can just sort of blow people up. So I think there's a chance that Landon Dickerson becomes seen as the best guard in football.
Look, I can certainly see that 2-time Pro Bowler, like you said, highest paid guard when they gave him the contract. When you think about it from beyond and now Brendan Thorne's incredible, right? But like beyond the O-line aficionados and kind of gets into the mainstream. Part of that sometimes has to do with personality.
Yeah, he's showing up in overalls.
Yeah.
He's doing splits.
So that's what I was going to say. It's like Jordan Mailata he's already exhibited that personality. We know, being in the locker room, knowing Landon Dickerson, that he has that, but he sometimes has the Saban to him when he's answering questions. Do you think he's far enough along that he's going to start to, as Andy Reid would say, let that personality show?
I think it's more in the team content, stuff like that. That's where he lets the personality flow. I feel like with reporters, he will still maintain more of the Sabanism. Yeah.
Okay.
But you can have both.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata buddy comedy is really going to it's going to take it up a notch this year.
There you go. All right. Before we get to the anniversary game, just to let
have you
everybody
contacted
know,
Emily?
OTAs tomorrow. We're gonna be live at 3:00. So after practice, that way we can tell you everything that happened during practice. So live tomorrow at 3, and then back at noon on Friday. That's our plan for the rest of the week. All right, Zach. I have 8 trivia questions for you for your 8th anniversary.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's not bad.
Before I did this show, I really valued my privacy, and I really valued what I'm willing to reveal and what I'm not willing to reveal. And now here I am. I don't know where this is going, but look,
there's nothing nefarious here.
Okay.
I'm not asking you about your wedding night or something like that.
I wasn't even thinking that, Bo.
I have 8 trivia questions that I was able to find online about that time in the world.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, Zach, was the last story that you wrote for the Inquirer as a single man? Do you remember?
Oh gosh. Remember this is a great question. I should know this. I did a newsletter that week as well.
Unfortunately, I could not access the newsletter archives.
Yeah, the Early Birds newsletter. Rest in peace. My guess is something to do with Bradford Wentz. Is my guess.
Good answer, but unfortunately incorrect. The last story pre-wedding was the headline, "You'll see a different Marcus." Why Marcus Smith is counting on his 3rd year being different than the first 2.
Okay, I would not have guessed that.
Okay. 0 for 1, but that's all right.
I like this game now. Okay, has to do with work. I like that.
Yeah, it's mostly has to do with work.
Okay, good. I thought this was like Emily trivia stuff that I was.
There's one Emily trivia in here.
Okay.
Let's go with then the inverse question. What was the first story that you wrote post-wedding? First story published as a married man.
So they had a practice May 31st. Bradford threw 2 interceptions that day, but McLean would have done the practice observations. But I would have written on. So McLean would have done practice observations. I would have written on the quarterback speaking. So this has to be something to do with the quarterback speaking that day.
I'm going to give you half credit.
Okay.
I'm going to give you half credit. The headline is Frank Reich, Sam Bradford is number 1, but QBs must be competitors.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Okay. That's good.
You knew I was writing about the quarterbacks.
Yeah, of course. You got to write about the quarterbacks. All right. This is a very difficult question.
Okay.
If you get this one, I will give you 5 points.
Okay.
Can you name the closest transaction to your wedding date made by the Eagles in 2016?
So I can tell you when my cousin got married, when Lee got married, the Eagles traded Brandon Boykin that night because I was giving the best man speech. And once I finished the best man speech, I tweeted out the Brandon Boykin news. The closest, I couldn't tell you, May 29th, 2016, the closest transaction that they made. Yeah, I mean, I could.
There was a relatively major move made a little bit later on June 12th, but there was a transaction made on May 22nd, a signing and a corresponding release, and then a retirement on June 8th. So I would accept either answer or any of the 3 players involved in those transactions, but believe me, it would be insane if you were able to get these.
A retirement on June 8th. Yeah, shoes. I should know this. I should know this.
You shouldn't. No, it would be legitimately concerning if you knew this.
Was Ruben Randall one of them?
Good guess, but no.
Okay.
On May 22nd, they signed Derek Lott and released punter Ryan Quigley.
Okay.
And then on June 8th, they placed Ty Powell on the reserve retired list.
Okay, from Rutgers.
But on June 12th, they did sign Fletcher Cox to a 6-year extension.
I should have gotten that. I do remember. Look, I'm gonna sound like this is gonna be a flex, okay? But look, we do the show every day. There was a high-ranking member in the organization who texted me the day of my rehearsal dinner, so the 28th, and said congratulations on the wedding, that kind of thing. And I said, please, no transactions this weekend. So I'm glad to know there were no transactions that weekend.
You carried a lot of weight.
Yeah.
You carry more weight with them than you do with Roger.
And with Emily, for that matter. Yeah.
All right, speaking of Emily,
okay.
Can you name either of the 2 places where you were registered?
No, she did all that. She used to work at Bloomingdale, so Bloomingdale's is one of them.
Nice. And then, all right, you got one.
And then her and her mom did the registration. The register was homegrown.
Nice.
Okay,
all right, Zach.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, Emily's gonna be pumped. You know that better than the Eagles.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I just remember saying like
2 points.
I was like, why? I was like, what do we need glasses for? Right? Like we have glasses. Why do we need new glasses? Yeah. Okay.
They look nice.
Yeah.
All right. I believe we have 4 left.
Okay.
This is a 2-part question.
I'm sorry you have to subject yourself to this, Julia. That's okay.
Zach, on the day of your wedding,
Yes.
did you tweet?
I mean, my guess is yes. I was alone for like the first, I went to brunch with my brothers or breakfast with my brothers that day. I remember there was a great NBA game on. The Thunder were playing the night before. That day, did Jeff have a story? I mean, typically, so it was a Sunday. I got married on a Sunday, so I had to tweet out the Sunday Inquirer stories that day. Definitely tweeted out the Sunday Inquirer stories. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. Of course. Yes.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Now,
what was the Sunday Inquirer story?
well, hold on, because you had one other interaction other than the tweet with someone remarking that you were tweeting on your wedding day. Do you remember who that was with?
No idea. No idea.
I believe we have that interaction if you want to flash it up. Matt Breen. So Zach tweets out Jeff McClain on Michael Kendricks looking to rebound and Bob Ford on Brandon Brooks in Philly. Mm-hmm. And Matt Breen responds, "Can't stay off Twitter on your wedding day. Congrats." And you responded, "Always need to promote our Eagles stories. Thanks. Keep up the great work. Enjoy the deep dish." Yeah,
he was in Chicago. The Phillies were playing the White Sox that night.
All right, so you get 1 point there.
Yeah.
On a 2-part.
Look, I mean, I didn't have to go for pictures until like 1 or 2 o'clock. So what else was I going to do? I mean, I definitely, and I always tweet out McClain's stories. Actually, shout out to Bob Ford. Bob Ford's one of the great columnists in Philadelphia. But I used to tweet his stories out at like 6:30 a.m. And I guess his phone, he would get alerts. And he once told me, he's like, please don't. He's like, don't promote my stories anymore. Yes. He's like, I don't want this buzzing in the morning. I'm like, I'm just trying to get people to read. He's like, I'm fine. I'd rather sleep. Yeah. Yes. So I doubt Bob's watching right now, but Bob, shout out to Bob.
Okay. 2 more.
Okay.
So you get married on the 29th. You actually did, to your credit, radio silence on the 30th.
Yeah.
Good job by you.
Yeah, we were getting like all the stuff together. Yeah, we had to clean up and all that. Yeah.
But then you get back to OTAs.
31st. Definitely.
You're tweeting about that stuff.
Yeah, it's a fun game actually.
In the mix of all of that, with whom did you make a Twitter bet about the NBA Finals?
Ooh. I'm gonna guess John Gonzalez or Nick Wright.
Incorrect on both counts.
Oh, okay.
Elliot Shore Parks. Elliot tweeted.
He probably had a bad take.
Incorrect. Elliot tweeted the Cavs are gonna take it all home. Ooh. And you said, let's bet lunch. You were betting on the Warriors. And the Cavs win in 7. So I want to know, did you pay off that bet? We'll have to ask Elliot. Did you get lunch?
He probably owed me for some take about Michael Carter-Williams being better than Giannis or something like that. So, but no.
Wow, man doesn't pay his bets.
Elliot, I will. No, actually in Chicago that year, they played Chicago 2016. Elliot and I went for deep dish pizza on Saturday in Chicago. I don't think it was because of the bet, but I probably picked up the tab that day. So yeah, that's my guess.
So generous.
I don't know, but yeah. So let's just say I did. But if not, Elliot, I'd be happy to treat you for lunch.
Okay.
Always enjoy hanging out with Elliot.
Last question.
Yeah.
This is an Emily question.
Okay, my favorite kind of question.
We know.
Is this a question from Emily or about Emily?
No, just about Emily.
Okay.
This is I'm doing whatever research I can do online.
Sure. Hope there's not a lot out there.
You have mentioned before that Emily went to Penn State.
She did.
Right.
Yeah.
But when she went abroad.
Yeah. Florida State.
Florida State. You got it.
Yeah. You kidding me?
College. Okay.
I did my research before.
You did your LinkedIn stalking too?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Trust me. All those introductory questions on the first date, I knew what the answers were to those. Yeah.
The answers to the test.
Yeah. I wasn't genuinely surprised by much on that first date.
Wow.
Yeah. I was ready for that one. Didn't work out, but. But yeah, I prepared myself.
But you planted the seeds, and a few months later.
Yeah, a few months later, got back in touch and have been with her ever since.
There you go.
Best decision I made.
All right, Florida State, nice job. So that's 4.5 out of 8. Good job.
Yeah, I should have done better, but okay, that's a good one. Unfortunately, you're gonna be out of town on your anniversary, right?
True.
when you get back, I will play this game with you. Your anniversary.
Yeah, I am not going to remember anything about the transactions.
We both got married holiday weekends.
There you go.
I got married Memorial Day. You got married Independence Day.
Yes.
Yeah. I got married the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. People were off the Monday, able to get.
We got married it was a Friday. On July 4th.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We still got to pay for these fireworks every year. Unbelievable.
I don't know what that means.
It's July 4th.
Oh, okay.
I pay for these celebratory fireworks.
You actually put up fireworks? You got to be like Jason Pierre-Paul.
It's a joke.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. I was going to say. What? I took that literally.
There are fireworks going on. It's like, look what I did.
That's you pull that off? That's a good one. Okay.
I mostly just make that joke.
Yeah. Does she still laugh every year?
No, I make it for you.
Oh, okay. I don't know if it's like Jason.
The good thing about a joke is the more you talk about it, the more you unpack it, the funnier it becomes.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was a Jason Pierre-Paul situation. Where you're setting
Does it look like a Jason Pierre-Paul situation?
Not literally, but where you're setting off the fireworks. Where you're like, let's celebrate our anniversary by putting up fireworks.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you think that that's how I would celebrate the anniversary, I think you got to do a better job when you're Bo Wulf studying.
Did anyone else interpret it that way? Or did you all know that it's a joke that Bo made?
I think I've made that joke on this podcast or versions of this podcast many times before.
Maybe so.
That's okay.
Okay.
All right, Zach. Well, enjoy the anniversary tonight.
Thank you. Spending with the kids.
I know you'll be celebrating by attending OTA practice tomorrow.
Can't wait. Excited for that.
We will look forward to unpacking everything that happens. What's different about the way that the depth chart looks tomorrow than it was last week? You know, is Keely Ringo there? Is James Bradbury there by chance?
So actually, on James Bradbury's Instagram, let me pull this up here. I hope this is worth the payoff here. The one time, he's promoting something in Alabama, I think. So in Birmingham, he has his inaugural All Pro Blitz charity event benefiting the A.G. Gaston Boys and Girls Club, May 30th and May 31st. So my guess is if he's there, he won't be at camp.
I don't think you need to guess.
Yeah.
If he's there,
yes,
he won't be.
No, so I'm saying my guess is he's going to be there. So therefore, the big question is mandatory minicamp next week, which by the way is post June 1st. So you never know.
There you go. The clock is ticking. Yeah, very interesting. We'll see how that all plays out.
Did you know that he had his All Pro Blitz charity event on Thursday?
No.
Okay. Well, now you do.
Now I do. Yeah. And my guess is that if he is in Alabama tomorrow, he won't also be in Philadelphia.
Unless it's like a Vince Carter.
But that's just a guess.
Unless it's like, unless it's like a Vince Carter graduation situation.
Yeah.
You know? So. Is that a reference you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he took the plane back. He was there. Yeah.
Okay. Or they could cut him in half and he could be in both places at once.
Can't do that. No, that for sure.
Would you rather have the left side or the right side of James Bradbury? Or the top side or the bottom side?
I'd rather just James Bradbury be whole. I like James. Don't want him cut up.
I like it too.
Yes.
All right, there you go. That'll do it for this episode of the PHLY Eagles podcast. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. Happy anniversary to Emily. And we will talk to you tomorrow at 3 o'clock for everybody here at PHLY. We thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll talk to you tomorrow. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.